Okay.
It's from Daniel, and it says, I started following Rick because of his reviews. I noticed that lately he has done less and less reviews. It might be quite provocative with my question, but is he doing less reviews because other people are doing it better? So,
You caught me on a wrong day. What's it called? Daniel.
yeah, Daniel.
So wrong day, Daniel.
Let's go on to that. Let's talk about reviews, why you may be doing a few less reviews. And then off the back of that, I want to talk about some of the drivers for next year.
Okay.
And go ahead. Hit me.
Reviews. I think there's two things. I would love to separate the viewers' information around a review and a test.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very, very different these days. I would 100%, without question, say that there's better people doing tests of golf clubs online. Scientific, proper tests. People like My Golf Spy, who have gotten hundreds and thousands of golf shots being hit by loads of different golfers on robots and simulators, taking all the data, number crunching, etc., etc., etc. That is a test. I think the other guys that are doing almost slightly more test than review, let's say, the guys from TXG over in Canada, they really know their equipment, they're really dialed in. Matt's just messaged me. Coaching, call you shortly. They are doing kind of reviews, but also a testing element because they'll put a different shaft in, change the weight, or whatever. I think what I do a really, really good job of is reviewing equipment. I think, bar not many, I still think I make the best reviews on YouTube because I give the information, I give my opinion, I'm very honest, I'm very impartial, I know my stuff, I know all about loads of different golf clubs that have ever been used before, and I feel as a review, you want to see a few things as an audience member. You want to see how the club looks. I think we give some of the best close-ups in the world. You want to see how a club performs. I think I do a really good job of that. But yes, I do it solely on my performance of how I hit a golf shot. So I think I still do amazing reviews, but don't mix it up with tests.
Yeah.
Why I don't do as many? One, it's a good word. There's not as many pieces of equipment that have huge differences these days.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, a great example of this. Back in February, we were sat in my garage, and we were going to test, or I was going to start testing the new Callaway irons.
Yes.
Okay. Had all the sets there, Callaway irons. And we have a chat before starting reviewing or whatever, filming, saying, well, what is it with these irons? What's new? What's different? What's the interesting part of these irons? Is it a new material? Are they promising to go longer, straighter, more forgiving, easier to hit? Are they super expensive? Are they super cheap? Whatever it may be. And we've sat there going, they're literally no different to the Callaway irons I've tested in the past. Mm-hmm. Like they've made some tiny changes, which in a review is not going to make for great viewing.
It can be if the brand is claiming that that's a difference.
Correct.
So like if a brand come out with a driver and say this is the fastest, longest, most forgiving, best thing since sliced bread, 2.0, supercharged, and you go, it performs the same as 3 years ago. Yeah. That in itself is a good review.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is as well, what you've kind of maybe not mentioned that we have before, it's down to the audience that watch as well. So we know, obviously, so fortunate that you've got nearly 2 million subscribers. Some of those are serious hardcore golfers. And obviously a lot of people listening to this podcast are serious hardcore golfers, but some aren't as well.
Yep.
So a lot of our viewers and a lot of your viewers that tune in for your reviews, like you said, they want to see nice images, a rough kind of overview. They don't want it to be super detailed.
They don't want to start diving into, and this is experience we found and what we know from our audience, they don't want to know the exact MOI of the club face rotation,
the exact head weight.
If you hit it 2 millimeters from center high toe, that's not our audience.
And there is people doing, like you said, TXG are amazing at doing that, and they have they obviously do some crossover, but they also have a very different demographic, don't they?
I feel like our audience will want to know information about the golf club, not only to influence whether they think they might be interested in buying it, interested in testing it, whatever it may be. But I think what a lot of the audience do, and I've seen this from evidence, there's lots of times where an audience will watch a video of a club they've got no intention of buying.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally no intention. But what they're doing is learning about that piece of equipment. Mm-hmm. So they might go to the golf club at the weekend and chat with the mates. Oh, have you seen that new TaylorMade driver? It's and they're armed with information.
Yeah.
They know how much it costs. They know how much adjustability the weight is, how much adjustability there is. They know, is it any faster or longer than last year? What just in a quick nutshell, a quick conversation starter.
But it's also entertainment as well. Like I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy to some degree. I've got an Apple iPhone I've had for years. But recently, I don't know why, I've been watching quite a lot of these videos on this new Google Pixel phone. Yeah. And I kind of know enough about it now. I'm still watching the odd one here and there because it's some level of entertainment when there's nothing else on TV.
But on the flip side, would you particularly watch one that like proper opens the phone up and checks every nano speed of the microchip?
No, exactly. I wouldn't do, but there'll be some like hardcore phone enthusiasts who would perceive that to be a well better review than the 8-minute glossy one.
Yeah.
But it's just different audiences. And then the other thing as well, coming back to, again, people like your TXGs who do such a great job, their whole channel is fundamentally based around reviews and tests of golf equipment. So anything that comes out, they're going to review because it's more content for them. They can make good content around said products. For us, obviously, it is still a real pillar of the channel is reviews of product. But that's more like your TaylorMade, your Callaway drivers, Titleist irons, wedges, etc. Other stuff, bits and bats here and there.
The flagship
products,
as
ultimately,
people
the
would
things
say.
that were excite us and that are going to get views. We're not necessarily going to go and do a massive full video on a Mizuno wedge, let's just say. First thing I thought of. Just because it ultimately doesn't interest us enough, doesn't interest the viewer, but other people will do great videos of that, so that should answer the question.